Oh, they're actually pretty
Welcome
quick.
to my YouTube channel. Please like.
Actually, I'm about to have to create a new YouTube channel. Would you like to make the opening video?
No.
I would. Yes.
Wait, why are you making a new one?
Because I have to stop using the Worthington email
You
with
got
it.
demonetized.
YouTube essentially said, like, hey, those are private emails and they're not Gmail. And since Gmail owns YouTube, they want every YouTube account to be an actual Gmail address as opposed to, like, my at WS Cloud.
Yeah.
Your at WS Cloud is a Gmail, but it doesn't look like it.
So you're just gonna like re-upload every video you upload onto your own.
No, I may transfer. I don't know. All right, so
We'll see.
probability.
I feel like I have this.
Probability is one of those things where we have a lot of different ways that we can look at it, right? Like, and solve it. So one of the easiest ways to think it through is with a tree diagram. A tree diagram is a strategy where we literally just map out what things can happen as we do one event and another event and another event. And we can do as many events as we want and find the probability of a final thing happening. So effectively, if I said, like, what's the probability I go to the casino and win a hand of blackjack, then win a roll of craps, and then win on the, and every event has its own probability of happening, right? They don't all have equal
But then
probabilities.
the probability of doing all.
Exactly, but then the probability of getting all of them to happen would be very difficult.
It's very,
Right.
very, very slim.
So, your teacher, right, moi, challenges you to a spinner game. You spin 2 spinners shown at the right. The first letter comes from spinner 1. The second letter comes from spinner 2. The letters can form a 2-letter English word. You win. Otherwise, I win. Haha.
Wait, I can't.
Wait, if the letter.
Possibilities then.
Yeah.
If and if.
So, yeah.
No, it's if, at, and if.
That's it.
If. I, F.
IT.
If
about
you have
A,
the
F,
best
A,
chance
F?
of getting
That's
it.
it.
You have a good chance of getting it.
So the highest chance is an if.
Yeah.
It's an iffy chance.
It's an if.
So how about we make this game, actually, if you can tell me the probability of forming an English word. Not just one of them, but all of them combined.
All 3?
You'll all win.
What do we win?
A piece of candy, I don't know, whatever.
What do you
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Gets trapped.
Oh
no.
So if we tree diagram this, and we start with spinner 1, I was waiting for somebody to say, what's a tree diagram? Tree diagram can look 2 different directions, but the first one we're going to look at is why is it called a tree diagram?
Those ones that took like forever.
They do not take forever. It branches. So a tree diagram is called a tree diagram because it can look like the amazing root system of a tree.
Oh boy.
Wow, that's kind of imaginative.
Now you can draw straight lines if you want. I don't care. But we need to draw the split for spinner 1, having 3 different options. I, U, A.
Why does he have a
Ooh, now wait, you just said something that's not true.
I think it's a degrees,
What?
not
Oh,
60%.
60 degrees. Oh,
Why have they labeled the 60 degrees, Sophia?
Because otherwise you wouldn't really know what it is, but since it's 60, you know why it's this.
Yeah, the only other way we would know is if it was to scale, right? And then we could figure some stuff out. But they've given us that the U is 60 degrees. What does that tell me the probability is?
It's 60 out of 360. It's 1/6.
Ah, it's 1/6 because it's 60 out of 360. So on this path of the tree, we should probably
That's I.
put 1/6.
That's
Oh
I.
crap.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, I was just making sure that you were paying attention.
That's what they all say.
Just by the way.
What's probability of I?
1/2.
Half, and then A.
1.
Is the other.
No, 2/6 is. Yeah, that. 2/6. 1/3.
Because those together have to add to
1/3.
a half.
Yes.
Okay, or 1/3 isn't right.
I feel like I made mine too tiny.
Me too.
Yes.
But do we know for sure that it's 1/2?
Yes.
What if they're, because if it's not on the scale, then
I agree 100%. Straight lines are assumed to be straight. So that is one of those CPM rules. They do a good job of kinking things. Even if it's a tiny bit, you can see it's not straight. So if it looks straight, it's straight. Yeah. So,
Turns out it's.
that's probability of T.
So T is 90 degrees.
Which
1/4
Yeah.
and 3/4, right? So then we just, do this, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Y'all.
Right?
Yeah.
No.
Right?
Do we only have to draw that once?
We
No,
just
we
fell
don't.
into
No, we
a
have to
trap
draw it.
card.
We have to draw it off each of them. So, if we want to show
No, he offended you.
T and F, T was 1/4, right?
That does look like it.
We
I
heard
know.
that.
Yeah.
Should we write the word down instead of the
We're so
letters
evil,
so we
you
can see it
guys.
better?
So, down here, this would be Stephen King's It, right? Stop picking on me. It's my smartboard's fault.
Yes, blame it on the it.
What, you don't know what It is?
The movie?
You don't
Yeah.
know what it
It was originally written by Stephen King.
I know that's
It was
why
a book.
I laughed.
I
Yeah.
started
By
reading the
Greeks.
book, but I wasn't
It's
able to
very
finish it.
That's
because
why I
so
was
many
like,
other people
ha.
wanted
It's
to
very
read
scary.
It is.
I don't like it.
Doesn't
This
it tumble to dust?
is
again?
if
He
It's
comes back.
It
Chapter 2.
comes back. It
you promised you'd come back if it came back. I need to start writing smaller. Alright, T and F.
At? Oh no, that's
T
you.
and F.
Oh, that's at.
Oof.
Oh, it's
Ooh.
oh.
Is it oop?
Oot.
Oot.
Oot. I think that might be a German word.
I
It
think
probably
Oof.
is.
But it's not English.
Oof.
It's part of the
Oof.
What are you gonna
Oof.
say?
Now, I know you kids these days might think AF is its own word, but it's not.
Why would it be its
David
own?
Crazy AF.
Because when you guys are,
Crazy
like,
AF.
oh man, quit being crazy AF. Some people I've heard say AF, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
This is how the society demises. Alright, but
Society.
what is the probability I make the word act or AF? Or, no, AF is not a word.
The probability of
Wait,
that
at is a word.
1/7.
No, wait. Which one is one what?
I bet.
Hey, David, stop. You're being rude.
Of making the word at, you have a probability of 1/7.
No.
Wait,
112.
no?
Wait.
It's
No,
multiply.
What?
Yeah, I know, 1/7.
What?
7 is 3
1/3
times.
times 1/4 is 1/7. For the word
No,
at.
Just wait. Just let it happen. You said what now?
Wait.
You said 1/3 times 1.
Oh, 1/12.
There it is. We all do it though. That's why we can laugh, because we all do that
Yep.
sometimes. Our brain is just like 7. And you're like, no, it's 12. Okay, so then AF, not a word, but what's the probability?
3/12, 1/4.
Yeah, 3/12 or 1/4. Now, sometimes people like to write these all in the same denominator if possible to check,
Mine looks
do I
insane.
have 100% there? Right, so do I have 12 twelfths?
A lot.
For oot, it'd be 1/24. Crap, so I can't use a denominator of 12 for that. Oof. Would be
3/24.
3/24.
1/8.
1/8, yeah. But neither of those are words either, right?
Yeah.
And then it and if,
Sounds like German.
so they are words. Probability of if, 3/8.
Yeah.
Listen to Sophia, she's like, I must redeem myself.
Yeah.
It.
1/8.
Now what becomes really fun is when you are the math person in the group, so not a group like this, right? You're in college or wherever, you're the math person. Somebody's like, hey, do this real fast, and then you make one of those simple mistakes, and the whole group's like, oh, I thought you were a math person. That's so much worse than in a room like this where we're all like, oh yeah, that I do that.
Everyone has.
That's more than
My
half
friends
the
love,
That's already happened this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
my friends love when I make math mistakes. The way we could check if our tree diagram is
I'm like, I don't
actually
know. Like, I thought you were
correct. Why do you keep doing that? It does this weird
It hates
jump
you.
back thing.
One day, Mr. Hudson.
Scared of you.
We can add up all of the probabilities at the very bottom. If we add up all the probabilities at the very bottom, we should have the entire set, and me talking and writing is getting harder these days, which would be 24 24ths if we converted everything to have a common denominator we could work with. So that's how we track our tree diagram. So your task.
Is there an easier way?
Just to get a piece of candy.
I feel like the tree way is really.
Well, you guys haven't given me an answer yet.
Oh
For
yeah.
the tree?
So
I
the
know,
probability to
it's
get all three.
No one's given me an answer.
What
Oh, I
is
can
the
do this, I can do this, wait.
probability we get
Oh.
all
I can do
three?
this.
Oh, just one.
Just add it. No wait.
Is it just one?
This,
It's
all of
wait,
them
it's-
together
it's-
should be one.
Oh.
0.583333.
Wait.
Wait,
Since at is in 12ths, well, crap, we can't turn 8 into 12.
Wait,
Yeah.
We
wait,
turn
1
both into
8 plus
24ths.
3 8
Yeah,
equals
but-
4 8, which is 6. Oh, wait,
But
hold
wait,
up.
wait, but 1/8 plus 3/8 is 1/2, so then that's just 1/12 plus 6.
Yeah, it's 14.
Oh, yeah, this is a half.
14 24.
So 12 24ths, so 14 24ths.
So
So candy.
Wait, what?
So
Yeah,
maybe-
maybe at the end of class.
Yeah.
maybe.
Wait, hold
Maybe.
on. I'm
What?
getting. Wait.
So 1/8 and 3/8 is a half.
Yeah.
Right, so instead of having to convert each of these denominators into 24,
You know.
we just say, well, a half is 12 24ths.
Plus 2.
Plus 2 more
Yeah.
24ths from the at.
Oh.
Remember, we want to say what's the probability we make a word. So actually, who's got a better chance here, the students or the teacher?
Us.
Yeah, the students, right? You would
Do you
end up
wanna
with a better
play the game?
chance.
Can we play the game? Just cause.
We can actually.
Guys, let's gamble double or nothing.
Yeah. Double or nothing. Double or nothing.
Don't, actually. I mean, it actually kind of be worth it.
Wait, we
Oh my
actually can play it.
Yeah.
My action.
Guys, you want to gamble double or nothing?
Oh.
Oh, wait, yeah, we did
Oh,
it.
wow.
Yeah.
We got.
So that's 1 out of 1,
Well,
right?
if you get an I, you don't need to spend.
Yay!
Ah.
2 out of 2. 3 out of 3. 4 out of 4.
Wait, so basically, if it lands
Whoa,
on
4 out of 5.
So if it lands on I, then it's a word, and if it lands on A, it has like a 1/4 chance.
Yeah, and if it lands on you, then
Like,
if it
it's
lands on an I or a
Couldn't
U,
AF
then
also
So wait, is that what our tree diagram? Oh, every path down the I ends in a victory,
Yeah.
right? Both of these points.
And every
So,
path
if-
down the U ends in a loss,
if-
but A is half.
If we really want to be efficient here, since these, it and if, are both of your paths,
1/2.
and here, we can just follow it up and say, well, because that is
Oh.
any I result,
And there's a half chance for I. And
It's
if
a
I
half.
Okay, yeah.
so we don't even have to deal with this down here because it's the entire path. We can go back up to where that path came from. But then it's only 1/4 of 1/3 here. Adds on 1 more 12. Questions?
Nope.
Your task is to now correctly fix Sabrina's tree diagram. Or Sinclair.
Oh, I think
So
I
Sinclair drew this tree diagram, which is another
I
way.
know.
What if
She didn't use probability.
she did not show the probabilities?
Yeah.
Now what did she do?
She did
She made
show
it
one a line that
Yeah.
it hit A and then she.
Yeah, she did all the various
She
the
did
letters right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did the
No, all
letters.
we need to do is put the
I
She did
know.
the-
Why did she bold that path?
Because
It's
that's the path that will.
That works. She doesn't think it's an if it's a word, you guys.
No. Look at part C. What if we change the rules
Maybe
and
it's the-
you win if it lands on at, you win if it lands on if, you win if it lands on it. You're like, so what if we change the rules and we look only at one path? So the main reason that we use tree diagrams is to look at one result from a situation. So not only does this tree diagram need its probabilities added, but then Sabrina or whoever we're talking about could use it to determine if they have a single winning option, follow that path. And a lot of times we will highlight the path. So if we went back to our tree diagram, we already have each of those individual probabilities down here, right? But that's because I essentially combined the first two problems of this lesson. So skipping past that one, Ryan is planning his science fair, and he's doing an experiment with mice.
That's a lot.
Or rats, but mice are more friendly. So,
I don't think
here is his maze.
Mark Sam.
If we assume that the openings are the same sizes, right? Same chance of each, because I know some look bigger than others, and in past years, kids have been like, well, he's more likely to choose the bigger open. Well, okay, we're gonna assume all openings are equally sized. What's the probability he ends up in the A region, and what's the probability he ends up in the B region?
I'd say
I think.
Work as a group
Yeah.
to figure
I
that
thought
out.
it was symmetrical, and then I realized that on the top side
No, but
there's
maybe
another
You
way.
should draw this on your paper.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we should.
No.
But that'd be too
So it's
easy.
one half and one
Too
half.
easy.
No, it
I'll
isn't.
make
If
it
both
harder.
halves are equally like.
They're not.
No,
Look,
we don't need
look.
to.
There's an extra path of the B on the top.
Yeah.
Wanna see if coordinates are
So
Yeah, it's
not-
3 and 3. See, there's 3 ways to get to A, and then there's 3 ways to get to B.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay. Well, then it's equal.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it depends. Wait. Does this have
Not
like,
necessarily.
Mr. Hudson? Does the math like? Does it matter if like the rat like from the middle and stuff? Or is it just random? If it's just
You
random.
guys are
Then,
discussing with each other how to find the total probability of ending up in A and the total probability of
draw
ending
it?
up in B.
Draw that.
Sure, you can
have
go
it-
ahead.
okay.
That's
Wait,
in the
wait,
smart
wait,
board,
okay,
so
so
just grab one of the pens. Or write with your finger, but you gotta change. It's on highlighter right now. Tap the drop down. Nope, the pen drop down.
No, I'll use the highlighter. It's fine.
But you can't write numbers with the highlighter.
I don't need the
You
highlighter.
can't write numbers.
Well, okay. You just wanna highlight, then
Yeah.
highlight.
Okay, so like, if he goes this way, then he has like those are his chances, and then that. So draw that. Yeah.
What?
I don't. Okay, I'm just gonna draw like out the. Whoa. No.
One third plus 1/9 plus 1/6
Doesn't
is
hate
the
you.
probability of A.
Yes. Look, just making all the lines straight. This is cool.
Flip.
Lines straight. Okay. So
I can't draw this.
Exactly.
What the heck?
green is B, and then blue is B, and then yeah. So just draw
So
that on your.
it's 11/18, I think.
Wait, why would it be 11/18 if there's okay? Okay, so
Wait, okay.
Okay, I have an idea.
Wait,
Look
look,
here, look
oh,
here.
can I? Okay.
Wait. So if we think of this give me a
I feel like
Wait,
I
so
did
my
that
thinking-
and then it just made it worse.
okay, so let's
Okay,
say this
okay,
is okay, sure you can
Okay, so it's like a tree diagram. So this one, there's a one th oh, okay.
That he top change pens. You're on the magic pen.
I'm gonna steal the show.
Why?
Okay, I need a different pen now. You want the actual pen?
Oh my god,
Okay.
I'm blocking it.
Yeah, this is what you erase.
This is smartboard.
Oh.
It's not on the ink layer.
So this one work?
No, it'll work.
You want
They just have to do one pen at a time.
Okay, do pen stuff now.
Okay, yeah. So there's a
Hold
one
up.
third.
I'm gonna make your life easier. Make your pen smaller.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so there's a 1/3 for each of these. That's pretty big. That's a 3. Okay, so there's 1/3 for each of these. From this point, there's a 1/2.
Hey,
I'm not even
it
touching
didn't
the board.
stay. Probably because I didn't do it from here. All you have to do is tap there and tap there.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a 1/2 here and a 1/2
I
here.
did it. I drew it.
Which means
It looks bad, but it worked.
so there's from this point there's a 1/6 chance that it'll go to A. From this point there's a 1/3 chance it'll go there, which that means there's nowhere else that he can turn, which means that it's it's a 1/3 chance.
Maybe he doesn't like it because it's small.
And then from up here, from up here,
We went to the big board for it.
there's a 1/3 chance that it'll go down this path, and then a 1/3 chance it'll go down
Okay,
this
guys,
path,
roll
which
this
goes
down.
into
So-
A. So 1/3 times
Your
1/3
drawings are great.
is 1/9. So
I mean, might as well. They're all fighting that
One-
smartboard.
1/9 plus 1/6 plus 1/3 equals. I think the answer that I got, if I can do math.
That was a lot of denominators.
That was a lot of.
Oh, make sure I pitch this game to you guys before we leave. I will pitch it to you before we leave. This lesson is shorter, so I know we'll have time.
Okay. So
I'm gonna
that's
go
my
ahead and turn
thinking,
this on.
and it's also on my paper.
So, if I wrap up what Sophia said.
Good morning, Dana Baker. Please come to the office.
She got her hair done.
Dana
It looks
Baker,
awesome.
please come to the office.
So,
Thank you.
1/3 going up this way, 1/3 going this way, and 1/3 going this way. So we try to clean things up, and I will try to type a little bit because I can type really small and I can't write really small. So you said 1/3.
1/3 plus 1/9 plus 1/6.
So
Oh my.
1/3.
Make it in 26.
And 1/3. Makes sense because we have 100% that we're going to pick something. So then up here,
Turns out that just doesn't
we
yeah.
again
So we
have 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So at the ending, what do we have right over here?
A
1/9, right? Because it's 1/3 of 1/3. And then we also have a 9th here.
I was gonna say 2/9.
And we also have a 9th ending right there. So we have 2/9 in B right now. And this is how it would make your picture look, guys. Like, write those probabilities in it. Or write on the line. But if you've drawn, like, the tunnels, I would write the probabilities in the tunnels. Now, this 1/3, this green, what happens to it?
It's just
Nothing. Yeah, nothing happens, so 1/3 makes its way in here. Out here, off this blue 1/3 split, we have a 1/2 situation Sophia told us about. And then the probabilities that make their way to the end.
Right, gonna be one.
So notice how it's better when I write this probability not at the intersection, but on the path. So you can pull these into the path a little bit, and as we're setting up tree diagrams.
Like, why is the poor mouth?
Because there's cheese.
There is.
So this ending probability is, what's this ending probability in A? 1/6. And ending probability out here,
1/6.
The mouse
1/6.
can't get to the cheese because the
Now,
mouse blocks
since
it.
we know these add up to 100%, if we get one of them, we know the other ones, it's complement. So this would be 3/9.
A is the higher probability.
3/9 plus 1/9. I have 4/9.
I got it.
Yeah, 4/9 is
What?
18ths,
0.61
and then 1/6 is 3/18ths. So that's
Wait, how?
18ths.
How many?
11.
Yeah.
So you said the whole for A is 11/18.
So I feel like A would be more probable.
Well, what then is left for B?
Then it's the others.
It's 7/18. Even though it's a bigger region, there's a lesser chance of getting it. Which a lot of times researchers will do this to test, can the mouse learn? Right? If it's harder to get into the bigger region, but there's probably more food or toys or something out here, they would want to test, will it learn the maze, and then over time, will it get to B more times than it gets to A, which mathematically is improbable, so there had to have been learning. Right? So that this is how we test things. If the probability is the only thing at play, and the mouse runs the course 18 times, he'll end up in A11, he'll end up in B7.
But it's real life, so it's never that easy.
Well, not all, not never. It's not never that easy. Sometimes it is statistically accurate. So, after 100 attempts, though,
Oh,
God,
boy.
that poor rat.
Romeo's found the cheese 66 times. No, wait, where's the cheese?
In A?
B.
I should at the end.
Cheese is somewhere.
Oh.
Romeo put the cheese in an airtight container in room A.
Then how did the mouse
So,
get the cheese?
he found it 66 times. How's that compare to the probability that we had predicted?
It's about.
Yeah, about right.
What would approximately happen to 18 to get it to 100?
We'd have to multiply.
Round it. What's 18 close to? 20. So we know we got to multiply by
5.
5 and then a little bit more,
Yeah.
right?
5.5.
So,
I got
5.5.
yeah. So 11 times
It's
5.5.
61.11111.
So,
that's about right.
So yeah.
he got a little bit better than what we expected, right?
Maybe,
For
maybe,
A.
maybe he learned that the cheese was 31.
Yeah. So sometimes they'll put the stuff out here, sometimes they'll put it here. A lot of times they put the thing they're trying to find in the more difficult region, but they actually this time put it in the easier region.
It said Sammy's.
It's not really mean, it's just research. Alright, try this maze.
Oh, there's another maze.
Sammy.
The cheese is in room C. What's the chances that Romeo finds the cheese in room C?
Alright, draw that diagram.
Now, if you guys would like, I will blow this up real big.
Oh yeah.
Blow it up.
Oh yeah.
Yay, so it's easier to write.
Right. Hold up. Can I read the question?
Nope.
No, you can't.
Wait,
You know the question. What's the probability he gets to the cheese in room C? And really, we're going to figure out each room's probability, but...
So there's a Can I write?
Sure.
Okay.
You got to, like, pick up a pen and switch it to pen.
Where's
So, click the pen.
this thing?
Yep. Then click the drop down.
What?
Actually, it's on calligraphy, so then go click the color pad.
Yeah.
Choose your color, choose your thickness.
Oh, okay. I'll just choose this.
And then next to it is thickness.
Oh, this?
I would choose the small. Yep, there you go.
Okay, great. Oh, okay. So these are both 1/2, right? Is it 1 for
Yeah, you guys make fun of me when I write on this thing.
It's because you do it so much more often that you should learn.
Okay.
Oh, snap. Okay, then it gets here. That looks terrible. Oh, too late.
I can't draw.
Yeah, same. This is hard to replicate.
It's so unproportional. Woohoo!
Like a 1/3 chance. Oh my gosh. That looks like a line.
So there's a 3/8 chance of getting to C.
I don't like this.
I put it on the
This
paper.
smartboard. Wait, is it a smartboard?
It's
I don't like this. You try to draw a 3 and it comes out like a 1 and a sure.
You just have to move the pen
You having
enough that
fun
it can
with the
actually register
smartboard?
it.
Okay.
Oh,
Wait, no,
you're
wait,
actually doing
why'd you write a
sections.
million 1/2s by B and C?
Wait, isn't it? Like it goes like
No, but that's a
there's a
yeah,
half chance
kind
that it goes
of.
this way, this
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
I
one
see,
half.
I see, I
Here,
see
there's
what
a
you're
half
saying,
chance. Okay.
yeah. 1/2.
But wait,
Okay,
this
so
is a half.
clearly I tried to put a 1 and a 3 here, but I was oh, that looks better. That's a 1, guys.
Do you wanna go for like with the highlighter again, like Lang did last time?
Where's the you guys
Here. Do you want me to?
I'm done with this. I
Oh,
can't.
okay, I got the wait, time to do some math calculations. Okay,
We
I
should
got
use crayons because the crayons are fun.
You can use the
We don't
crayon.
have to draw this to scale. We just have to draw like the path. We don't have to draw it just right there and realize.
We could.
Sophia, I
Just
can't
real
draw
big.
your finger.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Do you want me to help you?
You know what? I'm not drawing very much today. I'm not.
Okay, so
So that one's that way to that. What is this? Awesome. Yeah. So everything going to A would be that, and then let's say blue is going to B. So that'd be bow. And then
okay, so C is 3/8 chance. B is
think.
Oh wow.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. We totally didn't just like
Wait,
make a
Sam,
mess of colors. You can't see anything yet.
Now, if the only thing we really care about, I'll move it up for you, is room C. This is a half chance, right? And then we branch off.
yeah, C is a 9.
So, but what is this path's chance?
1/2.
1/4,
And
right?
then the other one
Within
is
the-
1/8, so it's 3/8.
I got
So when we
I
want
got
to
the
find
answers
out,
to everything already.
hey, hold up for just a second. When we want to find out a specific question, start where you want to end, and then get back to the beginning. So if I start where I want to end, I hit this branch and this branch, right? There are two fractions that come together that give us the 1/4. Now the other one's more difficult.
It's half, then
It's
half,
half, half,
then half.
So it's 1/8.
Half,
1/8.
half, half.
So 3/8. So 3/8.
So 3/8.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's
Do you
9/24.
want us to do
So
the
it's a
other
fun
one?
number.
Nah, as long as it makes sense, we're okay.
Okay.
All right. Any questions on how we deal with a specific ending location?
That's 1/8.
Do you want to draw anything?
Yes.
Oh, this is all. Or you're trying to give me the rest of them.
Okay,
So you
this-
said this is also 1/8.
Yeah, that's 1/8.
What is this?
1/6.
Shape match, you guys.
And then these two are also 1/6.
Ouch.
Copy and paste.
That's bothering.
So it's a 2/6 chance of getting into A.
Yeah. The chance of C is 9/24. That is 7/24, and this is 8/24. So C is the best chance.
Nice. See, it's still the best chance. The cheese is still. See, you guys think we're being mean. We're being nice. We're putting the cheese in the easy spots.
That's not. Okay, sure.
And that's everything I have for you today. So the last thing I want to show you guys is a game called On the Dot.
We should have a set competition, you guys.
You could.
I
So,
will, but
On the
sure.
Dot is a game that each player has the same four transparent squares. Yeah, apparently I still am.
Why not?
So the whole game is layering your squares to
Ooh.
make one dot pattern. Now it is not any old dot pattern. It is a specific dot pattern that everyone is trying to make at the same time.
So does everyone have the same squares?
Oh, I see.
Everyone has the same squares.
Wait, yeah.
So I have to figure out how to get the dots I'm looking for
No, this is-
using the squares. I can flip,
I think
I can
this is
turn,
pretty easy.
I can stack.
So it's kind of like how you can
So
flip,
hold up, because you're all gonna have the same questions. I want to answer them together. So when I stack cards, dots end up on top of each other. Only the topmost dot counts. So right now, yellow covers red,
But
and
all
red
this-
also covers a yellow.
So like, you know the red sides, they all have to be like the same?
Yeah. Now if that's not what I want, I can flip switch
Oh.
that
Okay, now
and
it's
get the
more
red
complicated.
there and the yellow there.
Okay, that's complicated then.
So if you guys want to play,
Yeah. Yay.
I have it.
We do. Athena, come on, play with us.
So I would say go big table.
Big table.
The big table.
We want to call the stuff on it.
Good stuff.
I will say apparently you can only play 4. If you buy another box of it, you can play with more people.
Oh, that's like.
I
What,
want
Athena's
you
gonna
not to
opt out?
play.
Is anyone want to do their homework and not play?
I kind of want to do this.
Okay,
I can do
It's a
homework.
nice brain teaser game.
I can do homework at a later
Get
date.
your things. Get a chance to.
All right, you ready?
I'm standing.
You ready?
Yes.
They're all the same.
No. These are all the. Well, yeah, you guys all have the same.
Squares are
Yeah,
all
true.
the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
You all have the same pieces. Make that.
Oh,
What?
jeez.
You have to use every card that you have. You have to use all 4.